I've been eating a raw vegan diet for many years. I actually stopped counting, but I was 100% raw vegan for many years, over 10 years. There came a point where I decided to indulge or experiment with some cooked food, some grains and potatoes mostly, but not a lot, just a little, and steamed vegetables. I come to the conclusion that, my 100% raw food label wasn't as important as not eating junk food. See, prior to that, when I was 100% raw vegan, I would think, you know, as long as it's raw, it's okay. But I come to the conclusion that I'd rather eat some steamed vegetables in the wintertime than a raw food candy bar just to call myself a raw foodist. Well, I progressed since then because at that point I also started to include raw goat milk. And after doing that for about a year, I started to experiencing health issues. Not that it was bad for me, but I just think it was just not as good as what I was doing, and I didn't want the health issues to become an issue. So I decided I've been eating a raw vegan diet all this time. I might as well just go back to what I was doing that I was doing successfully. But the difference is when I went back to 100% raw vegan, I did it this time without eating the raw vegan junk food. Now I still eat raw food recipes, but I don't eat the junk food, the mixture of the sugar and the fats. That is the big problem, I think. And that is one of the things that a lot of people that miscombine their foods, one of the things that gets them in trouble. So if you're going to do a raw vegan diet or eat in any way, when you mix sugar and fats, it creates a problem. So a lot of people talk about how much sugar we should eat and is fruit okay. People talk about how much fat we could eat and is fat okay. Should we do low fat, high fruit, and all these different things. From my experience, as long as you don't mix the fat and the sugar, you're going to be okay. However, you want to get a good balance where you're not doing too much of each. Too much of anything is not good. I don't like to put a number on how much is enough because each person is in his own individual situation in what they're doing in life. Some people are very active and they can get away with eating more, whether it's sugar or fat. Other people are more sedative and they got too much going on. They don't even have time to exercise. So those people would really have to reduce the amount of food they're eating. So in general, though, it's not good to over-exercise just so you can eat more either. So that's another problem people running into. So I just found out that keeping things as simple as possible. Even in my life, I just become a minimalist, and I think doing that with our diet would be a great thing. I love to enjoy a good raw food recipe, but the more processed food is, the more miscombined it is, the harder our body's going to have a chance to digest it properly and get the nutrients it needs out of it. So eating a raw vegan diet is better than eating standard American food that's just so far away from its original state and it's just not healthy at all. But a raw vegan diet with miscombined foods, a raw vegan junk food, or all these raw food candy bars and all this stuff, that's not necessarily the best thing to do either. So if you're going to be successful at a raw food diet long term, you have to make sure that you're doing this with wisdom. And a lot of people getting into this now, they're really excited and they're telling people just to eat as much as they want and do as much as they want. Well, it matters of what we eat. It also matters when we eat it and how much we eat. So these are things to consider when you're eating this way. So these are things to consider if you want to be successful at eating a raw vegan diet in general. Now, you don't need to eat 100% raw vegan to be healthy. You can eat a little bit of cooked food. You can eat even a small amount of animal products if you're doing it with wisdom. It's important to understand why you're doing this, why you want to eat healthier. Is it just to prevent illness, or is it because you're overcoming an illness? And you have to have good goals in mind, but you must understand, no matter how you decide to eat, the principles of health in general. Breathing good oxygen, drinking the best possible water you can get, and getting enough liquid. Sleep is such an essential part of good health. When you limit your sleep, you're limiting your healing and you're limiting your health. And getting enough calories to sustain the lifestyle you're deciding to live. I'm not one to count in calories because there's a difference. One calorie is not the same as another, even though there are calories. So you got to get good, healthy, and enough calories. And then we need to think about the ideas of our mental health and on our overall state of being in terms of our happiness and what we do in our living and everything else. I do believe that there's things in our lives that can affect our health tremendously. The stress we put upon ourselves, but also where we would decide to be with our life. One of the first questions I ask people when I interview them or my clients is, what do you do for your job? And then I ask them from a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you like your job? And when they give me the answer, if they say they hate their job, I say no matter how healthy you're going to eat, you're not going to experience the best health you can experience until you do something you love every single day. Or something you like. Definitely you don't want to spend every day doing something you hate. That's not the recipe to good health. So keep those things in mind when you're on your health journey. And you should really love eating healthy. You shouldn't do it and be upset about it. You should figure out ways to make it enjoyable. You should make sure you have enough time in your life to get the proper sleep you need. And to be honest, there's not enough time to get the proper amount of sleep when we're eating the standard American diet because we just require too much sleep. This is why people cut their sleep short and they need drugs to stay awake, coffee and other caffeinated products to just stay awake. But when you're eating the proper diet, a raw vegan diet, you don't need to use as much energy in your digestion, and the body uses more energy in digesting food than any other topic out there, any other thing. So you require much less sleep than you would if you were eating a standard American diet, if you're just eating fruits and vegetables as the main part of your diet. Now you're giving your body an opportunity to get the proper amount of sleep it needs every single day, that recharging and that cleansing where it's taking place. The same thing with the water you put in your body. If you're putting toxic water in your body has to work to get rid of those toxins or deal with those toxins. The cleaner the water you put in your body, the better you're going to put your body in a situation where it needs to use less energy to get rid of any of the waste that's in there. Now on the topic of water, a lot of people just don't drink enough liquid. They're eating dehydrated foods and cooked foods and food that just do not have the liquid in there that was meant to be in there. This is why it's so helpful to eat a good amount of fruits and vegetables in its raw state and its living state, because that's the high quality liquid that your body needs to thrive. And then we look at the oxygen we breathe and how we breathe. Most people don't breathe enough. They never take deep breaths. And most people, even if they take deep breaths, they're breathing toxic air. Living in cities and just unclean environments, and they're just not able to breathe the right air. And no matter what situation we're in, we got to find the best we can do. So if you're in a city, get to the beach. Breathe those negative ions that are coming in from the ocean. If you're in the mountains, make sure you're not in a mountain where they're burning toxic stuff or doing things like this. Surround yourself with green plants, whether it's in your house or in the woods. Surround yourself in the best possible environments and give yourself the best possible foods. So these are things that I've learned over the years that are going to help people do better. But I also know before we learn these things, there's a lot of things we've done to ourselves to put ourselves in a damaged state. So we need, and it would be helpful to have certain things that help our bodies heal. And I know people want to be as natural as possible, and you don't want to take things that aren't so-called natural, but we do everything unnatural in our lives that are bad for us. So why not do some things that are not in their purest state to do good things for us? So there are some supplements that you can get that can benefit the body. So I have a moringa tree in my backyard and I eat moringa. I love moringa, but not everyone can get that. But now you can. I have moringa in capsule form. So capsules aren't the most natural thing out there, but it allows you to get these natural things that you readily wouldn't have been able to get otherwise. Same thing, there's an algae that grows in an ocean called Astaxanthink, which is one of the best things you can do for your body. But many of us can't go to a lake or a river and take out this algae on a regular basis. But I found a company that does this, and they put it in this bottle, and it allows you to get some of the best nutrients of nature right into your body. Same thing with sea vegetables. You can eat sea vegetables. We might not be able to go straight to the ocean and pull them out ourselves on a daily basis to eat these things. but there are companies out there that have prepared and packaged these things for you. So not everything in a bottle or a plastic bag is necessarily bad for you, but when it comes to your food choices, the best wrapping you could have around your food should be the skin of a fruit or vegetable, and not bags, box containers, or cans. So consider that. The more natural we could be, and on minimalism thinking, the more time we could just be organized in our lives and make wise choices about our health, about our diet, and about our life. Another thing is the lack of movement. You know, people are so addicted to their TV sets and their computers and so on. They're not out there moving for their food. Every healthy animal in nature will work for their food. Whether it's climbing a tree or fighting another animal to get a certain food, there is activity taking place before they eat their food. They're not just sitting around all day. And we can translate that into doing our own type of exercise. Whether you like to swim or play tennis or go to the gym, getting exercise on a regular basis is only going to benefit your health overall. So it comes down to two things. It's not with what you add to your diet and lifestyle, it's what you eliminate. First, eliminate the things that are creating the problem on every level. And then, I'm not saying to necessarily replace them with things that are good, but just have good things in your life and you'll be okay. Alright, those are some tips and suggestions I have. You can post your comments below the video, and I'm really glad that I decided to go back to eating a raw vegan diet, and 100% for me, because I don't want to deal with any of the cravings of cooked food. I don't want to deal with any of the lack of energy I get from eating any cooked food. I love eating a raw vegan diet. And other than the short period of my life since I started raw vegan where I ate some cooked food, I've been on a 100% raw vegan diet and thriving. And is it for everyone? Not necessarily. We have to look at all aspects of our life. We have to look at our emotional state. We also have to look at our surroundings and our family and so many different areas of our lives to decide what diet is best for each individual person. But for me, from what I see, and for me overcoming an illness and maintaining my health, it is to eat raw vegan foods. Alright, and living foods as well. And if you want help or support with that, I do counseling and coaching, and I also have a lot of interviews with people who've been eating this way for a long time. And I'm here to help you if you desire that. Until then, everybody, have a great day. Put your comment or question below, and have a great raw life.
Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life, brighten up your life.